Watch Who?
Hello.
And welcome to the To Watch Who podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Sarah.
And I'm a Doctor Who fan.
And I'm new to Who.
Yep. Sarah is watching for the very first time from the beginning in order.
We're working our way through season 3.
How are you finding it so far?
All right. I mean, I haven't really got much to say. The first one was all right. I said it's a bit vanilla.
Okay, so we've had Galaxy 4 and Mission to the Unknown so far.
Yeah, Galaxy 4 was vanilla, I believe was my exact description of it. Mission to the Unknown, I don't really have a lot to say because it was a bit of a filler. So that, so far it's been of those two. And then this one was really hard.
Yeah, well, I did say, I think I've had a few warnings about the missing episodes that we've had, and they are going to be tough.
Yeah.
And Mythmakers is completely missing, and there's no telesnaps.
We went out and got some food in between, and I think that helped.
Yeah, so we've done the loose cannon fan reconstruction of this, all 4 episodes. And
shout out to Bearded Taco.
who helped us with food halfway through.
Who helped us with food halfway through. So thank you, Bearded Taco, for your fab food.
But I think it is your toughest assignment so far on this podcast, I would say. We
do another podcast. I said you didn't know when we were queuing. I was like, I'd flashbacks to our other podcast where I've fallen asleep on your sofa. It was really hard, this one. Because, look, we've done telesnaps already. This wasn't new to me. Was it as hard as Marco Polo?
You see, Marco Polo was only 30 minutes and you've been sort of traumatised by that one to begin with. It wasn't a great start.
Yeah, Marco Polo wasn't as bad. I think what I really struggle with this was, I said to you when we watched it, like, sometimes the audio was really hard, so I had to shut my eyes to sort of understand what was happening, which I never thought I'd say. Because it was just quite hard to, like, understand what was going on. But then I appreciated having pictures to start putting faces to names as well. That was helpful. I could not have just done it just audio. I'd have really struggled, I think.
Well, it's strange because you've got the soundtracks out with Peter Purvis narrating,
Yeah.
Vicki walks across the sand or whoever.
Gosh.
And I've always listened to that whenever I've gone to this story. And it hasn't been, I don't know it that well. I've always found it difficult to listen to the narrated soundtrack. I've never done these loose cannon reconstructions. So I've never watched it with the pictures before. And I actually found it much easier this time to follow. I think this is the first time I've really followed this story. It's quite a fan favourite.
Is it?
It's one that I think people would want found. It's definitely on people's lists to be found.
I can imagine. I think I wouldn't mind seeing it properly if it was found. I wouldn't mind seeing things like the horse and, all that sort of stuff. And there's some bits of it where, like, I don't think I would mind seeing it properly. So
can I just shout out, if you happen to have any of the Mythmakers, I'm not gonna do a rant, I promise, but I have to when we talk about missing episodes. If you have an episode of the Mythmakers in your basement, I just want to say you're a great person. You're doing such a service not showing this to anybody and keeping it to yourself. I think you're a wonderful, wonderful person. There we go. I'm not ranting. I'm just saying.
So you're saying it's good that they're keeping it?
I'm just saying that they're really great people, and I don't have a bad word to say against any of these people that might just happen to be keeping back a missing episode. Now I've got this in my head that people have them out there.
If it's in your basement...
I'm just saying that, that's all.
If it's in your basement, then... that's the case. If it's in your attic, then it's a whole other story.
If you've got it, just well done. You're doing such, when they made this, they obviously didn't want anyone to watch it. So you're doing such a great thing by keeping it to yourself. There we go. I'm not having a rant.
Bitch, please.
Just saying, it's how it was designed to. That all those people working hard.
This
on
is
it.
like the
I'm
second time I've in my life of knowing you. This is like the bitches. This is up there with Earl Grey. Okay,
That's another story. Let's not go into that.
This is up there with Earl Grey.
Missing episodes get me really wound up. I can't help it.
It's going to be a long season.
I can't help it. And I can't help mention it. Every time we do a missing episode story, I cannot help but just to say...
God, you're going to get your bitch out a lot in this,
and it's
aren't
not,
you?
I mean, I'm not saying... It's not even proven that anybody has episodes. I think it's quite likely, but we won't go into that again, but I'm just saying...
But we will.
If you happen to have it, you're a great person. Anyway...
Anyway.
So it is. People really like this story. I think it's written by the same guy as the Romans, and I think it's put together with the Romans quite a lot because of the sort of comedy. Well, this is the thing. People say it's like a comedy. It's very funny. This one, I think a lot of fans also. There's. I don't know if I've said this before. Like all these TV stories have been novelised as books.
Oh, have they? No,
Yeah.
I don't think I've said
So
that
people
before. Or
read
if you have, I've already forgotten it.
So some of these books are, I think this one is written by the script editor. So people find, they do their marathons and they do the missing episodes by reading the book sometimes. And I think it's a very good, highly regarded book as well. And there's probably more to it in the book as well. It's definitely put together with the Romans, and we really like the Romans.
Yeah, we did. I can imagine it as a book.
Yeah, I think it probably, in another format, it might work well. But going through this time, it wasn't as Roman comedy as I thought it was going to be.
No, when you said that, I was like, really?
Because you did not find this funny.
No, I didn't. I found it really difficult. No, it was...
There's moments which when we go through the story, I'll say, but it wasn't as... Because the Romans really wasn't it?
Yeah.
A farce.
It was a
This
farce.
wasn't as
It was
farce.
clear.
This wasn't a farce like that at all.
No.
I don't think.
No, it wasn't. Like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing it properly. If put it this way, if they found it, mainly because of what happens, I think, because of the end.
Yeah,
I think.
it's an important story in that sense as well.
Yeah. I'm not spoiling it by saying the end. The chances are people that have...
Oh, yeah, no spoilers.
I don't know why.
Here. There are no spoilers
There's
here.
no spoilers, because Vicky left. So I reckon...
Should we just start with Vicky and just chat about
Yeah,
Vicky?
let's just chat about Vicky.
There's nothing left.
Yes, there is. There's us. We can start again with your cousin's help. We can build another Troy.
Okay, can I ask then?
Yeah.
Because obviously I didn't say.
Yeah.
Did you have any sort of idea that she was suddenly going to go at the end of this? Or what was the point?
Yes and no. So the start of it's absolutely not. But when she was talking in the prison, in the jail thing with Stephen, about like, oh, well, I quite like it here and all this. And I was like, boom, you've got like...
Susan syndrome.
Susan syndrome. Yeah, that's the term. You've got Susan syndrome.
It's very much like it is such a Susan departure.
Yeah, but I thought so that it was so like identical. Then I thought that I was like, but this is the first time this has happened. Really, I mean, she had like maybe that one in the Space Museum.
Tour in the Space Museum.
But that wasn't even anything. That was like
I think we put more onto that than the script editors did.
Yeah. It was like a nothing thing. It was like, I think they made more of a thing of it. And she was like, I'm off for the adventure. What are you on about? It was nothing. This is the first, where even in the past, Susan had other things before this. There was, in the furry creature one, what's that?
The Sensorite.
Sensorite.
She did not have anything going on with the Sensorite.
Not with the Sensorites, but there was... No, I know not with the Sensorite. But there was someone in the Sensorites that she got quite friendly with.
It was the Sensorite.
I wasn't.
I can't remember.
She was telepathically with someone talking. She was.
It was a Sensorite.
Oh my gosh, what's it?
But no, there was somebody else in some other stories. Maybe not so much. The thing is, for me, Susan, when she went off with David, at least they had the whole story together.
Yeah.
They went through something.
Yeah.
And we weren't impressed with it, but compared to this, I was surprised because this is sort of where you might have been falling asleep at this. I think you might have missed this moment.
I really needed some energy.
So when Vicki, it's not great with Vicki. She's in the TARDIS for pretty much episode 1. They just leave her behind.
Yeah.
And when she ends up in Troy, she comes out of the TARDIS and she makes friends with the king, and she meets Paris and Cassandra. She's chatting with the king. It cuts to a scene and they're talking about Troilus, and she says, "Oh, he's quite good looking. We got on really well." And the king's like, "Yes, yeah, he thought you were all right." We didn't even see them first meet.
No.
The first meeting that we see of Troilus, it might be episode 3, I think, where he's visiting her and giving her food in the prison.
Yeah.
And they've already established some kind of relationship off screen by that point. And then, once he's in it, you can start to see the relationship. It's a 2-episode relationship. And for Vicki to stay in ancient Greece, all of the places, like she's a futuristic, when she was doing the things in the Space Museum, and she likes the adventure, and she's really enjoying it when she's in Troy. She doesn't feel like she's in any danger. Stephen and the Doctor are off. She hasn't seen them since the beginning of the story.
No.
She's sitting in the kitchen with the king having a chat.
Well, of course she is. I mean, it hasn't been invaded yet, has it?
But
she knows what happens.
Of all the places, I think she's going to regret staying. I just think at least Susan is in the future where there's buildings and sewage and toilets and food. I don't know why I thought of toilets and sewage, but she's like ancient Greece. She's not going to have any of her space food or anything that she's used to. It's
exactly the same thing, though, because in the same way that Susan had to restart a civilization, Vicki / Cassandra, whatever they call her. What do they call her?
Oh, Cressida, and she's known as Cressida.
Yeah, she's not even called Vicki anymore. So Cressida is also starting a new civilization.
So, if you're looking at, we've had Susan leave, Ian and Barbara and Vicki. What do you think, especially Susan and Vicki here, what is your take on 1960s Doctor Who girls being married off very suddenly?
So, okay, it does relate. Here's the other thing. Before I answer that, here's the other thing. Because I said it to you in the middle of the episode, I don't really relate to Stephen yet.
Yeah, still, yeah.
I still don't relate, which I think is another problem.
I find that, I'm sad about that.
Yeah. And when we talk, we'll talk about it now, but when you break it down, he's not really had a lot of screen time or time with the doc. I don't know what he's about. So, we meet him. He was angry that first day where he was with Vicki. It was him and Vicki. The Doctor went off and did his thing in the Time Meddler.
Time Meddler, yeah.
And it was just him and Vicki.
Yeah.
And then the next episode was
Galaxy 4,
which, you said that they'd crossed the name out anyway. It was supposed to be Barbara.
Yeah, and he's just stuck in an airlock.
So we've had basically 2 episodes with him, and then she's gone, is Vicki. So I've just got a character I don't really know.
Yeah, you haven't got to know him yet.
I haven't really got to know him or what he's about, and the one before, I don't really feel, like you say, he didn't really do anything. I don't know. And this one, again, he
did a bit more. He did have quite a bit of time with the Doctor. Well, I don't know. That's what I said to you in this as well. Same as Time Meddler, where the Doctor's like, right, you two stay here, I'm off. And the same, the Doctor goes out of the TARDIS, goes off on his adventure. Then it's Stephen's turn to leave. Then it's Vicky's turn to leave later on. They all go out one by one. I don't think that's ever happened before. If you go back to season 1, they were the team. Dr. Ian, Barbara and Susan. Right, let's all go out and explore together. And something terrible happened and they'll get split up eventually. But it's like
they don't go out as single.
Separate. They're not such a team.
No.
As we've seen before.
They'd always got in a pair or something. It's because there's 3, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe.
Because even in the last one, they go off in a 2 and leave 1 behind or something. But you're right. I don't know. So part of Vicki leaving, it's weird because I'm left with people it's almost like starting again.
Yeah, it's very different. Season 3, I said season 3 is a curveball season. It's just, but to explain that, you've got a completely different production team. The producer's different, all the script editors different, everyone behind the scenes is different, so it's starting to change.
I just feel like it's weird when, in terms of a continuity thing, someone's gone and I still don't really have any.
Well,
the Doctors, you're consistent, I get that.
Yes.
But when Susan went, we had Ian and Barbara still, and we knew what they were about.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, it's weird, isn't it? We talk about the companions, but we never talk about the Doctor.
Well, we haven't for a while, I don't think, because there's been so many changes, new things to talk about with the companions.
But it's almost like, in a way, the last two in particular have shown the Doctor very much acts in isolation.
He started to, I think, from sort of Time Meddler onwards, he has, yeah. Since Ian and Barbara went, he has.
But even there were odd bits before where he did, I mean, like little things where he'd have scenes by himself, where he got engaged and stuff like that. He would do things actively alone, or because he'd say stuff like, the Doctor's figured out, But he's very much like working in isolation alone, works by himself, and the others are just, so it just, when I think about these things, I don't even think of him in it.
I was very much focusing on Stephen and Vicky's stories in this.
Yeah.
Especially this one, because actually the Doctor doesn't, hang on, where should we go? Should we go on to the Doctor then, just quick? Let's just
I just want to answer that first question, what you said about Vicky.
Sorry.
Sorry, I know it's my fault, because it does all kind of play into it, but so how do I feel about Vicky leaving and the way... It's like this classic thing of course, women leave, you have to be married off. Like, that's how it comes across.
At 16 years old, yeah.
At 16 years old, in the 60s, if a girl leaves, it's got to be for love and be married off. That's how it seems. That is the only reason that they would choose to leave, apparently, However, we haven't really had... I mean, Ian and Barbara, I think, are separate.
They are very different, yeah.
They're a different thing. So it's when Stephen goes that then I think I could have more of a judgment. But so far, women in the 60s, if you leave, it's usually for that.
Yeah. And as told by, I think, Peter Purvis and Maureen O'Brien, she didn't want to leave. She didn't know she was leaving.
Oh, really?
The story goes. So this is the first one they filmed after the summer break.
Mm.
Like, behind the scenes stuff starts to sort of take effect on the show at this point, I think. From interviews and stuff, she didn't know she was going. She got the script and just learnt from reading the script that she'd been written out. They didn't even tell her beforehand.
Oh my gosh.
And she was furious. And she says in an interview she was annoyed because she had 6 weeks holiday. She was going around, she could have been looking for work.
Yeah.
Come back, you're written out in episode 4. There was very much, and I think it was the new producers coming in, trying to make their own mark on the series and start to swap it round. So you can sort of see that it's quite hastily written. Yeah. Whereas I suppose Susan's departure was planned. I mean, she wanted to go, and you got 6 episodes to sort that out. But this, just having Troilus in 2 episodes, and suddenly she's, I love ancient Greece.
Oh, I love boats.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, isn't it? It's like Barbara and her boat. Oh, suddenly I really love ancient Greece. It'd be great to stay here. I've sat in a prison cell for a day. Yeah, I think I could really enjoy it here.
Yeah,
It's just doesn't. It's just not a satisfying ending for such a great character for Vicki as well, because we've seen some really good moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather she stayed on the Space Museum and helped a revolution, and sort that out.
I was just going to say I would rather that. And I think I would have rather. See, I said to you, I don't think she's been around that long. And actually, I don't feel she's done that much. I think it's because we had 2 or 3 stories at the start. She didn't really kick in until the Space Museum.
No, she had Rescue. She had Web Planet was a waste of time for everyone.
Yeah.
And Crusade. Yeah, she was around quite a lot. But...
She had 3 where she was just basically the Doctor's shadow. So it was almost like apprentice learning. So she didn't really do anything then, which is kind of what Stephen's doing now.
Yeah, they just take a bit of time because they haven't got the scripts ready for these new people, I don't think.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's what it is. They're like, right, now we're going to start writing for Stephen after he's been in it a bit because we know that the writers know that there's someone else around now. It just doesn't... Yeah, I think they don't plan these things. I really don't think they do.
So weird.
The disappointing thing as well, she doesn't get a goodbye scene with the Doctor.
No.
They go into the TARDIS and off she goes and it's all done off screen, which is a bit sad, which I think maybe that's... I haven't got time to write a leaving scene, or we've got the script and now we've just got to add Vicky's leaving into it. It's just a shame you don't get it. The Doctor doesn't get to see her in the story.
No.
And and they've got such a good relationship.
They do. They really do. They have a really good relationship. Yeah. It's just a bit of a weird one.
And it's very rushed. And, well, okay, we'll start at the end. So then you leave with Stephen being injured.
Yeah.
And Katarina, Cassandra's handmaid, she nips on board.
Well, she had to get him on, didn't she? He was wounded, mortally wounded.
Off with her.
Yeah.
Of someone that has been in about 2 scenes before at the end of the story.
Hey, now let's not say Stephen was in 1 scene.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. But what are your thoughts? Just
I mean, poor thing is what I thought. I was like, I felt more so for the Doctor in this. I mean, like, at least Stephen and Vicki had some sort of concept of other, like looking back on time because they're from the future. This poor kid, she'll see, like, I don't know, anything 50 years ahead and it'll be scary. Mind blown.
Yeah, I don't know if they've thought this through. I think it's just odd, isn't it?
It's a nice idea, but it's so far back.
Yeah.
It was like if they brought Ethel, whatever she was called that you like.
Edith. Oh, no, Edith from the Time Meddler would be the best companion.
No,
Edith knew what she was doing. Edith knew much more than Katarina, I think. Anyway, we've gone right back to... Let's start at the beginning then. Bring back Edith. So we're in ancient Greece, and history lesson time. We had to look up Trojans, Troy, Greek. I don't know anything about this.
So I know enough.
I mean, I know Greek myths, but I wouldn't be able to say who was fighting who.
So I knew about that there was a horse brought into Troy.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
Yeah, which is what this was.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know was who was fighting Troy, and it was the Greeks. That, like, which seems really obvious once you, that makes sense. But, like, I didn't know it.
No, I didn't know. No, I thought they were all the same thing. I didn't know.
I just didn't know who was fighting Troy.
No. And it's not explained to the viewer.
No, it's a classic thing. You're supposed to know these
They've sort
things.
of given up on explaining stuff. Unless, I mean... The soundtrack of this, I don't think the quality is amazing.
No, it was really hard with the audio as well, just to work out, like when they were all talking, I was like, what is happening? What is being said? Yeah, it was difficult.
What I found, I don't know if it was the quality of the recording, but they all seem to be shouting. It's very shouty acting. I know they're like Greeks fighting and they're arguing about stuff, but everybody seemed to be very shouty, distorted. Whereas if you go back to somewhere like the Aztecs, you've got Photoxel, who's very panto, like you said, but at least everybody else's performances are sort of rounded off, and they're. But this just seemed like everyone was Photoxels. It was all full of Photoxels being.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the quality of recording comes into it as well. I think, but
that's it. It's hard to make that.
It was
judgment.
tough, and so that you've got that opening with Achilles and Hector fighting that goes on for quite a bit, and that's when we were like, who is fighting who? And I think they're talking to each other while they're fighting, and you're supposed to pick up, okay, we're here, this is a Greek fighting a Trojan, but I didn't really get that because it was just a lot of noise and trumpet music and
terrible trumpet.
I mean, I can imagine that fight being like on film, like the Aztecs fight, and it looking with the stunt people, but you just don't get that. I mean, they do really well.
That trumpet was awful. That trumpet sounded terrible.
What? So anxious to be gone? I would not keep you for the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have nothing good to say about that trumpet noise.
And then we have the Doctor pretending to be Zeus, or is mistaken for Zeus.
Yes. Now you were like, oh, he's doing a Barbara. But he does that all the time.
He is doing a Barbara.
He does that all the time. He did it in the Crusade when he pretended to be well, he doesn't pretend, just people presume and he goes with it. He does it all the time.
But it's very much like he would had a go at Barbara for doing this, and he's been a hypocrite being Zeus. But why does he go along with it? And then he's off, leaving Stephen and Vicki to go off, and then as soon as he gets there, the whole story revolves around them trying to get back out of it.
Yeah.
Why do it in the first place?
Here's my big bugbear. I said it like, why did the TARDIS move? The TARDIS that like apparently cannot move at all. That when it was like under that water, do you remember? And the Doctor was like, no, it doesn't move, my TARDIS. And yet some Trojans can just pick it up and drag it along. Like, what is there in the...
Actually, no, I've just thought Marco Polo carried it across China.
Oh, my... Yeah, you're right. So, apparently people...
Depending on the story, I think.
Historical context. So, if you're in a historical period, historical people can carry it, but elements cannot move it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't see it moved off. I mean, no one's seen it apart from that person in their basement. But I don't know if they filmed it or not. Let us know on your copy of The Mythmakers. Yeah, so...
There'll be a Twitter account now set up called Piss Off Mark. I'll set it up. And it'll just say no.
So the story is very much Aztec. So it reminds me of the Aztecs, with the bits of Crusade and the sort of comedy of the Romans. The comedy was from Paris, and it's like that little family. It's like a little family Greek sitcom, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got Paris, he's supposed to be this sort of prince, fighter, tough Trojan who's not bothered about fighting. And then you've got...
He's bothered about ornaments.
You've got his sister Cassandra, who's like a prophet, who started off all right, but then she goes mad, doesn't she?
She turns into Thingy's wife, said.
She's very much like Nero's wife, or Carla from Keys of Marinus.
Yes.
Or Marga.
Yeah.
From Galaxy 4. It's a Cassandra, Marga, Carla mashup.
That her shouty. Do you know what she reminded me of? Her shouty from the Crusade.
Oh, and when Joanna went, what did she say? She was like, no, like that proper shout that she does in the Crusade.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cassandra does a proper shout in this.
Yeah.
How dare you! I am High Priestess of Troy. All I can get back to your temple.
It reminded me of that. And when she had that really dramatic with the king in the Crusade, they had that really reminded me of that.
There's a few sort of lines in this, but it's not. Yeah, as I say, it's not.
I'm
funny.
Sure on screen that's really strong acting.
I think you miss a lot. I bet the movement, the way that they interact with each other, and there's probably a lot of physical comedy maybe in that, like there was in the Romans.
Yes.
You know, you could have had a Titilinus, or whatever his name was, Tigalinus.
Titilinus, I don't know.
Doing something, serving in the background. And yeah, okay, they do really well with the reconstructions, but it is just a plain sort of background with a person. That it could be a really lavish set.
Yeah,
you can get so much more out of it. But just watching it as we did, I didn't get the comedy. The comedy did not come across for me.
No. It was hard. Like when you said, the comedy, I was like, where? Where is this comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it got easier as we went on.
So Paris is definitely where I could see that being in that character. I said to you, actually, by the time we got to like the third or fourth episode, where everyone else was very like classical in the way they spoke, he was more contemporary. Like when she was saying about he was like, well, something about the Trojan horse coming in. He was like, well, you better like get your prophecy away because I'm like, yeah. He was very... and I think that's where that sort of contrast came in. His was a lot more contemporary speech compared to theirs that was very traditional, like almost Shakespearean theirs. whereas he was
60s comedy.
Then woe to the house of Priam. Woe to the Trojans.
I'm afraid you're a bit late to say woe to the horse.
Yeah, which is, like I say, it's very similar to what we had with...
Nero, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters in this.
Yes.
Which is why I've never followed it very well before. But I was making so many notes. And as you said, putting a face to the name really helps. So whenever somebody came up on the screen, I was like, right, that's that person. So once you got who everyone is, and I've always got mixed up Cressida and Cassandra, you know, that kind of thing, where I've not really
clocked it
who was who. And then they start calling Stephen something else, don't they? Dire thing, which I've not picked up on before, which, you know, listening to it, I probably thought that was a whole other character. So this is the first time I have understood all the characters.
There's a lot.
Who stood out most for you?
I would say Cassandra.
Yeah, I would say her.
It's going to be the people in Troy, I think, more than the Greeks.
Yes.
The Greeks, even though they feature quite a lot at the start, I'd say the first 2 episodes were more Greeks and the last 2 episodes were more Troy's.
Because Odysseus and the Doctor are just there's a lot of scenes with them, and the Doctor's working on the horse, and he wants to do something with the catapult or something.
Yeah.
I zoned out on those scenes.
Yeah.
Once they were talking, I was like, right, they're just working on the horse for 2 episodes. We don't need to know anything else.
Yeah.
All the interesting stuff with Stephen and Vicki and Cassandra. And Cassandra being jealous of Vicki for knowing the future. And she's a great character. She'd be a great villain. Yeah, she's on our villains list, I think.
She was great. And I did enjoy Paris, actually. To begin with, I was a bit like, but no, actually wasn't. I just wasn't.
He didn't do that much.
No, but I just enjoyed him, I think, as a character in the same way that I enjoyed Nero as a character. He didn't do much, but I did quite like him as a character. Troilus was pretty there. I mean, like, he did what he did.
He fed Vicki some food, and that was it, really. And fell in love with Vicki.
Did what he was told.
I'm just trying to think of it, because a 4-episode story. What else really happened? Stephen didn't get to do very much. He had a bit of a fight, though.
Yeah, but he's useless.
I was like, right, here we go. He's picked up the skills from Ian's given him a quick sword fighting lesson before they hand it over.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Off he goes, but Stephen gets injured.
Go on.
The orgy.
Oh yeah, they mentioned. What did he say? What was the term he used?
The Doctor's looking in the horse and looking through a hole, and then Odysseus says something like, "Oh, you look as nervous as someone at their first orgy or something."
Yeah, I said, "She was like, it's for kids, isn't it?"
made me stop and rewind. I was like, "Did he just say that?"
Yeah,
so that was funny. But yeah, the Doctor doesn't really stand out.
No, I know, I agree.
But then, actually, if you're looking at it, it sort of is Vicky's story.
It is Vicky's story.
She does more than the others.
It's Vicky's story, and I just don't feel like I know Stephen yet.
I like the dynamic with Stephen and Vicky in the cells, and he's teasing her about Troilus.
Yes.
That's quite nice, and that's the sort of relationship we had in Time Meddler as well. That was nice.
But that's what I mean, and now it's gone, and I think, well, but I don't know who he is. Like, it's a strange thing. It's, as a character, I don't, like...
Well,
he's not a fighter. He's not like Ian. Like Ian, we always call Ian's the fighter. Ian's the, he's smart and but he fight things. But he's puts himself forward, puts himself at the front. I don't know. Like at this point, from what I've seen, I can't say that about. I don't know what he is.
But Ian was always out. He was saving Barbara a lot, or saving Susan or someone. Stephen. He's saving the Doctor or Vicky. That's his motivation for leaving the TARDIS. You've seen the Doctor go off, and so he goes off to try and save the Doctor, and then he has to get captured and go and save Vicky. And the Doctor sort of leaves Stephen to do that. He's a rescuer, is he not?
I don't know.
Like Ian, he's a rescuer with less fighting.
I think he is. He's not Ian. He's his own person in the same way that like Vicky wasn't Susan, and
yes, yeah,
he's not a fighter. Like he's
No.
not Ian.
But he will fight when he needs to.
Yeah.
But I think the rescue element is Stephen's thing, I think. There's nothing else. I agree, there's nothing else so far that you could put to Stephen to say...
Like Vicki, for example, like when I looked at, to begin with, I was the same for Vicki. I was like, oh. And then like she had that revolutionary moment and I realised, I was like, oh, she's like the young friend. She's that young energy of like steering people. That's what she's about. And you see that throughout. And like after that, you saw her in different things. She was like this for the people, for the justice, you can do this sort of fresh, like revolutionary. And she did that quite a lot, even in this to some extent, where she was trying to explain to Troilus about, even he's my friend just because he's not Greek, and she was trying, these sort of like moral values is what Vicky's about, these moral values. I still don't really know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And now Vicky's gone to really it's on him and this new Katarina, whatever her name is, from Greece. Not Greece, sorry, Greek times, whatever. She's from the past.
Greece. Just got a plane over from Greece. She's coming with us. Met her in Greece on a holiday. She had a sangria and then we got on the TARDIS. Katarina, get the drinks in.
Get your ticket, girl. You're coming with us. Sangrias all day. I don't know. So I don't know. I just feel like I've got now someone who I'm still waiting to establish. Maybe that was their point. Maybe they weren't establishing him because they were waiting for this and then they could establish them all together. Maybe that was the point.
Everything feels quite uncertain.
Apart from the Doctor.
We've had a lot of changes very quickly.
Yeah.
Over a few stories.
Yeah. Apart from the Doctor, but I don't even feel like the Doctor has gelled with.
So for me, the Doctor sort of faded into the background a little bit.
Yeah. But I don't even feel a connection with the Doctor and Stephen.
Well, at the beginning of Galaxy 4, when the Doctor was like, oh, it's a scientific expedition, you wouldn't understand, and goes out. At the beginning of this, the Doctor's like, oh, yeah, they look like they're wearing Greek costumes. I'm going to go out and have a look. And Stephen says something, and he's like, oh, you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't. And then off he goes. He just has these sort of snaps at Stephen for no reason.
Wouldn't it be better if I went?
Not at all, young man. You stay here and keep an eye on Vicki. Besides, I don't think your present humour is fitting for the occasion. I don't think they'd appreciate your kind of sarcasm.
Ian and the Doctor had a relationship that was a bit more friendly and jokey.
It took a while, but...
That took a long while. But Stephen is... Sometimes he acts a little bit younger. Oh, where are we, Doctor? What do you think's going on? And then he's fighting and he's right, I'm going to go... And then he has to go and rescue the Doctor. But, yeah, you're right. There's not really...
There's nothing.
Yeah.
If put it this way, if Stephen went, like... I think I'm going to stay here, Doctor. I can imagine him being like, all right, suit yourself. Okay, bye. Boo, off.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine him having any sadness or actual emotion to that situation.
Well, he's injured now and the Doctor's very worried and needs to get help for him. That's where we left it. So
yeah, but that's because the Doctor doesn't like...
Well, yeah, he's not going to leave him. So.
No, but the Doctor doesn't like anyone. Like, they don't kill people anyway. So he's not going to let him be injured. And that's a different thing to, like, having a relationship with someone.
They just haven't had that time together on screen. We haven't seen it.
No. Even Vicki was one giving him a haircut, but we missed. The haircut that we missed.
Yeah. Oh, talk Clothes Watch, just going completely different. Clothes Watch, we see the TARDIS wardrobe room, supposedly. Well, someone's seen it. They're all in their Greek. Vicki gets a Greek. Luckily, she did get changed. Otherwise, what'd she be wearing in...
Oh, my gosh, can you imagine?
In ancient Greece, she'd be having that turtleneck. She'd be having some awful clothes that she's got from the TARDIS.
She'd have been changing the styles of the times, is what she'd have been doing.
And Stephen, in his Greek... gets a Greek outfit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Gets all the Greek armour.
Yeah. I said to you, I was like, he needs to get out of that. In Troy, they're going to be killing him off.
I don't know. I did enjoy this one more than I thought I would for a missing episode, and I would go back to it and go through that again. I would watch it, the construction again, or listen to it maybe. I did actually enjoy the story.
Oh, good for you. And that's all I'll say on that. If it comes out, if they find it as a real full episode.
But if it comes out on vinyl, would you get it?
God,
Actually,
no.
if it comes out on vinyl, I would get it.
No. If they find that episode and they put it out, I would watch it.
Do you know what? It's on my top list, actually, to be found. I would like to see this.
What is on your top list?
Well, I did say Marco Polo, just because it's the next one. But then I would say this one next, actually. Maybe episode 4, where you see Vicki leave. Actually, I would like to see that.
Yeah, there's quite a few things in this episode that I'd like to see. Like,
I'd like to see how they did the horse.
yeah,
And
same.
the battle, because on the soundtrack you hear all this like and it could be just like 4 people with some, with wooden swords.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that with how much of the city did you actually see?
Yeah.
How much?
I want to see the costume room of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I want to see how they did the whole Trojan horse stuff. Just to see it. I think it'll be fun. There's a few things with Cassandra and the way I'd like to see how she acted.
When she goes like really shouts, I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So this is one where if it came out, I would watch it.
There we go. That's not bad.
But I've absolutely no interest in experiencing that again.
Okay. Yeah.
In its current form.
Fair enough. That is fair enough.
Like, absolutely
Well, I said
not.
to you, as tough as this season is, once you've done one story that's missing, it's a step forward to full colour not very soon, quite soon, full colour. And
Every time we got through one, you went, Sarah, that's one less.
it is one less, and I think that is the attitude we need for this season.
Yeah, okay. The next one's 12.
Yes,
told
I have
me
said.
that.
So Stephen's injured. It's a nice cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We haven't had a.
Oh my gosh, God bless them.
Going into the next one, have we? We
We've
haven't
got
had
12 episodes. We've got Stephen injured and that Grease girl.
that. Katarina.
She's now Grease.
What are you thinking is going to?
Girl from Greece.
Girl from Greece. What is going on? What do you think is where we're going to go to next?
Okay, there's got to be the Daleks. Like I'm sticking with that. It's 12 episodes. It's a long one. The Daleks. I should have thought when you said the next one was 4, that it wouldn't involve the Daleks. I should have known that because it's never a short one if it involves the Daleks. Probably because they move slow. So, yeah, this definitely involves the Daleks. It's something to do with that invasion of Earth, but without that title.
Mission to the Unknown.
There we are. But they're going to invade Earth and the world, whatever, with their friends. That will happen. And it's going to be 12 episodes and it's going to be long. And it's all pictures. And
There's 3 episodes that do exist.
Okay. So we talked about this just for people ahead. Mark was like, okay, so we'll do it in 2 sittings. We'll do like 6 and we'll record, and then 6 and we'll record. And I was like, absolutely not. I cannot do that. I will not. So we're going to be doing a 4. And then we're going to do 2 after that and then record. So we will talk about the first half, but we're breaking it up for my benefit.
So we'll do 2 episodes. We'll split it in half, 2 episodes.
Yeah, but just so people are aware, we're doing it in 4-4-4. So, because I can't do 6.
The existing ones will help break it up a bit.
Yeah, but I can't do 6.
Yeah,
and
it's
6.
tough. It's tough.
And
I've not
record.
done, as I say, I've not done the reconstructions of any of these, which we're going to be doing.
You've just watched the episodes.
I've just listened to the soundtracks and watched the ones that exist.
To be fair, in terms of like the reconstructions, like some of it was funny, as in like it wasn't great. But also I have full like respect to them, how they've been done and the way they've been done. Like in the same way, that's not, it sounds awful me criticising it like that. I can't think of any other way to say it. Like there was right at the start the fight scenes with the gladiators, and it's quite obvious that their heads have been put on.
Oh yes, yeah.
Do you know? So some of that is quite funny, But full respect to them for how they've done it. So
Because I think they've used, because there's not that many, you've got 5 or 6 publicity photos.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And 3 of them are Vicki and Troilus looking at each other holding hands.
the same picture over and over.
So I'm not sure. They must have used photos of the actors from other things. So, or they've just got a woman's head and put it on, and that's Cassandra. I'm not sure, but they've done what they can, and you get the idea of what's going on.
Cool.
Okay, not bad then. Not bad.
Really?
Well, no, for me, not bad. For you,
Yeah. It's just all a bit nothing.
it's not. No, it's not.
Mark, it is.
It's not.
Okay, come on. Go through how this season so far has been amazing.
Different what we've had before because you've said you got used, at least you said you got used to the format of these stories. They've broken all the rules.
Well, they
of
did
the
in season
format.
2 anyway, so that's
They've
fine.
broken the format. You don't know what's happening next. You weren't expecting Vicki to go.
No, I wasn't.
So
I wasn't expecting
anything
Vicki to
can
go.
happen in this series.
It felt
Anything
really
can
soon
happen.
for Vicki to go.
Yeah, anything can happen in this one. It's I think that's exciting.
That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Okay. That says it all. It's just a bit of a bleh so far. Let's see what these 12
Let's see what
episodes
happens.
bring.
Let's see what happens. So you can follow us on Twitter.
I've just thought of one thing, sorry, before you go into your little Twitter thing. The best thing in this whole storyline were the episode titles.
Oh yes,
They were great.
You see, I think that's part of the comedy, isn't it?
Yes, they were great.
The small profit, quick return.
It sounds like a money-making scheme.
Yeah.
What was the next one?
Oh well, we had Horse of Destruction was the last one.
Yeah.
Death of a Spy.
Death of a Spy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a James Bond. Loved it.
Yeah. So
They were great. Every time they came up, I was like, yes.
it's a good. Donald Cotton. He's a good writer to write the Romans and this. It's,
Yeah.
And how he's put the Greek myths and the horse and everything into the Doctor Who story, and of course it's the Doctor that gives him the idea. He's broken his history rules, but no one cares about that now. This isn't season 1. No one cares about rules.
Nobody cares about rules. Hey, the TARDIS can be lifted up. Nobody cares about rules.
Well, yeah. So we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, you do your
Next
little spiel.
You can follow us on Twitter, 2WatchWho, and Instagram, 2WatchWho. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening so you can get the next episode as soon as it arrives.
As soon as it hits the deck.
And we will see you next time for part 1 of the Dalek Master Plan.
Oh, you can't say that.
What?
Because you asked me what do I think is going to happen next.
Yeah, well, you've said it now.
Yeah, but that was a guess, wasn't it?
Oh.
I mean, I guessed correctly, but I'm not supposed to know.
Am I cutting this out or am I just leaving this in?
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. But you always
Well, okay,
say,
all right,
if that title had come up at the end
Yeah,
of the episode, but it didn't, you always ask me, you always say, okay, so this was the title. What do you think it is? And I'll go, or you'll go, what do you think is going to happen next? And I go, and you go, okay, well, that's what it is. We'll see you next time, whatever it is. But we didn't know what the title was.
Okay. I apologise.
Well, now we know.
I apologise for that spoiler, but you sort of knew anyway. You know.
Well, I guess right is all I know.
You guessed right. So we'll see you next time for that. See ya.
Bye.
To watch who?
Hey, Doctor Who? What are you talking about?